Alright, so we decided that Lewis deliberately murdered Albert. Despite the signs that he may have been under duress, under control from outside forces, there were still too many outliers, too many strange things that seemed to indicate that maybe he might be using a common local excuse and hoping that I fall for it. Because there was a lot more there was disparities between the two cases I've had so far, but really, I wouldn't feel entirely comfortable making a strong stance in one direction or another this early. But I think that's more or less where I have to be, I think.
Mr. Throgmorton, I've encountered something.
What? I don't have all day.
Some unusual creatures, and they sure weren't friendly.
You've seen a wild beast, Mr. Reed. I'm somewhat surprised to see you still alive. Those unsettling things appeared after the flood. I've commissioned a few studies on them, but we know little more than when we started. They're aggressive, but fortunately not immune to gunfire.
Yeah, I learned that firsthand.
Try to avoid them when possible. And when you can't, keep your weapons handy.
Thanks for the warning, asshole. Nobody mentioned these things until it was too late.
Mr. Throgmorton, I'm afraid I have bad news.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I found your son in the basement of a nearby warehouse. I'm sorry, but he was murdered. Shot in the head and the body hidden.
No. It cannot be true. No, no, no. I don't believe it. No.
I've tracked down your son's murderer.
Where? Who is he?
Just as I suspected, the Innsmouther Lewis is responsible for your son's murder. He's hiding at the local bar. Just ask the bartender. Seems like he had a bone to pick with your family and took it out on Albert.
Oh, that scum won't be getting off easy. The whole city shall see what happens when you cross the Throgmortons. Justice, bittersweet as it is, shall be served. It's rare for a newcomer to make himself so useful. Thank you.
Mr. Throgmorton, I hate to press you, but do you think you could help me now?
Yes, you've earned it. Okay, to think a newcomer barely off the boat solves a crime the police couldn't, but I digress. Remind me, what brought you to Oakmont?
I think I'm going mad, Mr. Throgmorton. I see things, visions, and I needed to stop. I was drawn here, or guided, or I don't know. But I believe the source of this madness is here, in Oakmont.
You're not wrong, Mr. Reed. An inexplicable hysteria spread through Oakmont after the flood. I funded an expedition to explore recent geological activity that may be responsible.
Geological expedition? I'm not sure I follow.
I have reason to believe the flood and this madness have the same source. As above, so below. So I sent men to find out.
Has your expedition found anything?
I do not know. Albert was part of it. His passing cannot be coincidence. Why was he alone at the port? And where are the others?
You think your son was killed because the expedition uncovered something?
Is it so hard to believe? I had no news for a week, then Albert, the only one I could trust, comes ashore and is killed.
It does sound suspicious.
Mr. Reed, I want you to find out what's going on. I expect you're as interested in the expedition's results as I am.
If I'm going to look into this, I'll need to know more. Where should I start?
I'll give you the address of the expedition's headquarters and a key.
That's all you can tell me?
Let me be clear, Reed. You do not speak to me like that again.
I'm sorry, Mr. Throckmorton. I just meant the more I know, the better.
I am a busy man. I funded the research, but left all preparations to Professor Doe and Albert. When you've finished, come see me at the Throgmorton family manor. It's in Old Grove. Here, I'll show you.
What about my expenses?
They will be reimbursed after you complete your task. And of course, you've earned some compensation for your work here at the port. I'll also include a fair advance in bullets.
Bullets?
The dollar lost its use here, Mr. Reed. After the flood, Oakmont returned to bartering. Bullets mean more than bills.
Especially nowadays when everyone's getting killed. Did you give me 4 whole bullets? That's my advance? They are rare. Alright. Let's see if I can do anything about the audio balance here, because it is not... There we go. Voices. Voop. There we go. The voices seem irregularly quiet in this game, especially the protagonists. Like all the ambiance and music and background coast sounds are all like drowning out our mumbling detective. So I'd like to update that if I can and hope it works out a bit. Alright. Lost at Sea. A new case.
I gave you clear instructions, did I not?
Man, he's so friendly. I love how friendly he is. I'm gonna be so happy to be working with him, aren't I? We have lore. The fortune teller's prophecy. So it's recorded here. The sea will be generous in the coming days. Many gifts delivered and many will regret partaking. So something from the sea is going to come out that people are not going to want to take part in, apparently. It's going to seem like good news, but it's going to become bad news. Maybe eating the flesh of old one style creatures or something, as we've seen before in other games. I see old and new, a hard heart against an iron will. Whoever wins, you win too, but you'll only see that from inside a metal cage. And tall pillars circled by the dead, a race from one to the next, as time itself laughs. Hard to be sure. So at this point, we need to find the expedition headquarters, which we're given the key for, and that's where people went missing. Mine Palace is blank at the moment. The city port under the keel bar. Plenty of locations to visit. It is a northern cover side at the crossroad of Asher Road and Hubert Avenue. Northern cover side. Asher Hubert. Northern cover side. Asher. Hubert. All right. There we go. We're doing manual markings here. So this is gonna be my first proper trip. I've been to the port. I've been to the bar. Here's my boat. It's time to actually go hauling ass out of here. I can visit entire different districts, maybe a big chunk of the open world, maybe all of it even. Might pick up some side cases, or might just get a chance to properly explore and see what some of this fucking nightmare looks like. I'm not expecting a ton of good news. Alright, so yeah, the roadblock is now removed. I have access. Or I'll skip the process of exploring and end up over here, apparently. Huh. Lost at sea. Robert Throgmorton funded an expedition to discover the origin of the mass hysteria gripping Oakmont. The expedition was to explore the seabed near Oakmont. Contact with the expedition was lost. Albert was the only known survivor. He was subsequently murdered. I was hard to find the other expedition members alive or dead. Am I at the hotel I was told that I'd be at? Yep. How the... Alright. So I passed out like right here and woke up all the way up here. Like 4 blocks north-ish. I guess they want to... I imagine that they maybe on some level want to skip dealing with me learning how to use a boat at this point in the game, I guess. So they want to just skip me to the next island for now. But at some point I'm going to have to actually do some of this traveling myself. My diary, part 1. I don't know what exactly sank the USS Cyclops. I only remember the screams and the metal creaking, water filling the deck, and my headache, the worst I've ever had. I found myself among the floating seaweed, drowning. A nearby piece of a boat helped me survive and reach the shore of a small island. They found me on it later, starving, half mad and babbling about the ancient ruins and their denizens. The officials said none of what I thought I had seen was real, but my memories are true. My strange powers, gained after that ordeal, prove it. I found something horrible on that island, something old and dark and slithering, and it still haunts me. Oh boy.
Crew of the Cyclops. Semper Fortis, brothers.
Yep. It wouldn't be this kind of story without opening with a missing nautical vessel. Something lost. Laudanum. Soothes all ailments. Add to any spirits or tonic. Wow, they do not understand medicine at all yet, do they? They're like, I don't know, fuck it. Here's some opium. It'll fix things up.
No matter how much of this I chug down, the visions always return.
Yeah, it turns out, the idea of there just being something that soothes all ailments doesn't exist. As an idea. Hello. They've given me some options here. There's Gangster. King's Robes. Daywear. Man of Science. Fisherman. Police Envoy. Wow, you can fully commit, huh? So I guess I need to learn about the wild beasts and the field research case to get this. Master Sleuth, so just go full Sherlock Holmes. Cultist. Okay, what the fuck, man? Not only am I covered in tattoos, but I'm covered in what looks like a apron made of human flesh. Belly buttons and nipples and faces. Like, it's unlocked by DLC. It's a real lore breaker of a costume, isn't it? Like, some of these are like, okay, a little odd, but that one's just so divergent that I'm like, what the fuck? Somehow his face looks different in this one? I don't know. A few of them are acceptable. I'll probably just stay in costume. Especially since there seems to be pre-rendered cutscenes that might contradict what I'm wearing. But in particular, it seems like the most apt costume. I'm supposed to look like I'm losing it. A lot of those costumes are too clean. Whereas I'm a disheveled... I'm the usual smoking, drunken noir detective you're used to, with the additional detail of losing my mind because I'm in a Lovecraftian story. Clean and kept is not the right look, necessarily. USN Charles W. Reed.
Never again, they say.
Why leave the coin out, I wonder? Raids on Innsmouthers. The number of attacks on the Innsmouth immigrants has increased. Raids are intensifying, with more and more Innsmouthers exposed to abuse and assault. Sometimes, whole families are found dead in their houses. Police are on the case, with several illegal Innsmouther businesses captured and their owners sent to jail. The city ought to have been cleaned of these fish-faced scum long ago, said Robert Throgmorton, head of the Throgmorton Grand family. I regret only one thing. It all started too late. Had we not neglected our civic duties, my son Albert would still be here with us. Whoa. So it sounds like Throgmorton might be endorsing or even creating mass murders of the Innsmouthers in direct response to his son's death. So there's ramifications for this case outside of just right and wrong. It's ambiguous whether or not that Innsmouther even did it or not. But in addition to that, you have the concern of, is telling the truth, even if it is the truth, worth it? If there might be wider ramifications for other people. At this point, I think I'm going to say Innsmouth for the location, but Innsmouther for the people, because Innsmouther is like, it feels horrible to speak. But I'm pretty sure Innsmouth is the correct pronunciation of the location. But maybe Innsmouther is the correct thing to call the people. I don't know. Slang and all that. Note from Johannes Vanderberg. Mr. Reed, it seems that you overexerted yourself while conducting the investigation for Mr. Throgmorton. Forgive me for the audacity, but I brought you to the Devil's Reef while you were unconscious. Please, take more care of yourself in the future. I won't be there for you every time. Johannes. No, you will not. But here we are. It's totally a gameplay concession. Whoa, I got a plaque. Damn. That looks like it's engraved. I guess they're just very happy to see me here. Now you have to hold it down. That doesn't feel natural. On top of clicking instead of pressing E, you have to hold it down. But it doesn't really feel like it clearly communicates that until you click on it. The nightmares. I boarded up the windows and locked the door. They are just men, the Yellow King's gang. They can't get here now. Now there's only me and these nightmares. A little longer and I'll figure them out. Surprised I'm just finding bullets this easily, considering their value. Although I'm definitely intruding. Mr. Archer, I've seen you dragging things into your room. Mind the floors. I'll make you pay for any scratches you leave, your landlord. Keep it down.
The door won't budge.
He's dragging things into that room. I'll make you pay for any scratches you leave. Have you seen the state of your floors? I get it. Your place is degrading and you want to blame it on other people. So you can get them to pay for it. That's the game that's being played here. Never know what you might find. Ooh. I have access to these more of these locations than I would think, honestly. Too many coincidences. So the lighthouse is out. Several ships have gotten lost at sea, and some are now decorating the city's beaches. That's one thing. But now there's an enterprising fellow at the city port hiring salvagers to recover ships. He's turning a tidy profit from selling them. Can't be a coincidence. Need to look into it. Now, if only the city wasn't so impossible to navigate. I'm not the only investigator around here. And I'm not the only person trying to find answers about this place. That's clearly like a cottage industry of sorts. What is up here? Like a painting with him painted in fire. Slashed face. Incomprehensible language written over it. The bed's thrown up. Definitely get the impression that these are the quarters of madmen. And there's even the implication that they might be other investigators being driven mad by the process of trying to understand this place. How suitable.
Finally, you're awake. Gotta tell you though, mister, you want to stay on here, you stop making all that noise.
For a second there, I'm like, that's a regular person. And then like, his face is kind of saggy. Got some weird lines on his neck. Maybe they're wrinkles, I don't know. Then I see his mouth and his eyes, and I'm like, what the actual fuck is happening there? His eyes look like they're cataracty, but his mouth, I can't even tell what I'm looking at. Something bizarre is happening there.
Noise? What noise are you talking about?
I expect my guests to be respectable. Moans, chanting, all that kind of thing. It stops, all right?
Got any proof it was me? It could have been one of my neighbors. I slept like a rock. I didn't hear a thing.
That's exactly what a newcomer would say. Your neighbors are respectable people and would never do such a thing. Don't think your yellow-clad patron means you get away with everything.
You're not exactly friendly with your guests. Are we the ones keeping you in business?
All these newcomers after the flood, they're stark raving mad.
What do you mean?
You can't imagine the crazy notes and books I find after they move out. Only thing they're good for is lighting the kitchen stove.
Can I have a look?
I knew it. I tell you, no one sane would be interested. And you want to take a look? Well, fine. Take what you wish.
Joke's on you, I already did. Lullaby Crossroad. Terrible fetus from behind. Disgusting exaltation. Mirrors, lone child, forlorn woman. What the fuck? What was that straight up spam that just happened on my screen? Raid of the Innsmouthers. Too many coincidences to keep it down. Nightmares. Yeah, these are all the things I just read. Letters from Oakmont. These are all the side cases. The hotel owner allowed me to look through the weird notes he found in the rooms of disappeared newcomers. Among them I found several pages from the diary of a man describing his life in Oakmont. He suffered from visions and marked the places where they happened. Was he trying to avoid them? Maybe I should just handle them one at a time. Otherwise there's so much that I would never be able to cover it all, right? There's a lot. Forlorn woman. This city, no matter how badly the flood damaged it, has an unnatural appeal. I can't stop myself from walking, even if it means being struck by further visions. I went to the eastern part of Salvation Harbor, near the crossing of Fitz O'Callahan Street and Old Church Road. It came. The feeling of loneliness and fear was immense. I was a woman, locked in a room, infected and slowly rotting. My body turned into something. It itched badly, and my face... I had to hold the skin with both hands to prevent it from growing until I suffocated. I ended up sitting on the road, crying until some Innsmouther kicked me and ordered me away. Damn. East Salvation Harbor, O'Callahan and Old Church. Can I find this place? Salvation Harbor. East. Old Church Road. Fitz O'Callahan. Forlorn Woman. Only a couple blocks away if I can figure out how to get there via water. Maybe I'll check that out first. If I read every single one of these things in a row, I'm not going to be able to, like, actually keep track of them. That's way too many. That's 12 of them. That's insane. I have a knowledge point. I take it these are the starting points. So set traps twice as quickly, or keep an extra bullet loaded, gaining a chance to deal double damage with the pistol. That seems like it's also a chance to waste a bullet, isn't it? When I don't want to, maybe? Vigor, carry 7 more pistol rounds. Or, when close to death, slowly regenerate a limited amount of health for one last fighting chance. Then you can actually increase your overall health. Reduce fall damage. Man-eating eels deal half the damage to you while you're swimming. I don't want to fight an eel in the water. God damn it, this game's going to make me do things I don't want to do. The ocean part I'm not going to like. That's going to be a bummer. Okay. There's a lot of options here. Increased melee, or here's your gun options. Carry more first aid, more bombs. Carry more rifle rounds, SMG rounds, revolver rounds, shotgun. Okay, so this is all carrying more of all of your supplies. Whereas this is all mostly health-related things and physical attacks. Mind. Carry up to 25 pieces of any crafting material. I've also got an inventory cap on my crafting materials. That might be worth specializing in so I can avoid leaving stuff behind. Ow. Chances to not spend your resources are also nice. Yep. 15% is not a lot, though. Ooh. Add 10% to all of them and it becomes 25%. That's not the worst. Or earn more experience and stay sane for slightly longer. Oh, wow. Remain sane for much longer. Far longer than any ordinary human. 25%. Ooh. Chance of double request. What? You can just straight up double the rewards for quests. If you get this early, like getting these 3 early could be huge for the rest of the game, depending on how the rest of the game goes. More experience from all sources. Huh. This can't be a very big bonus if this is 10% and that's 15%. I imagine that this is then only like maybe 5%. But going down these trees could help. In particular, the massive quest rewards. I'll have to consider it. Let's take a look around a little bit.
I'm watching you, newcomer.
Oh yeah, I know. I can't look away from those eyes. Is there a thieving mechanic in this game? Am I crossing lines, or is this like free reign? You never know at first which type of game you're dealing with. Note about the hobo signs. Darren, I think I'm finally starting to figure this out. Locals use signs to mark special places that you know already. Kind of like the secret signs hobos use all over the country. What I learned is that the tradition dates back to times well before the flood. I've been able to find out the meaning of some of them. You've seen the crooked H-shaped sign on doors around town. That means the house is inhabited. A crosshatch grid sign marks hidden caches of useful items. The V-shaped sign is for barricaded, dangerous places. Good catch there, they say. Huh. Yeah, so there's potentially good reward, but you have to deal with a much more significant threat. Still haven't figured out the spiral-shaped sign, though. You'll have to investigate for yourself. And if you see a sign with a cross and 3 Ks, reach for the gun. Oh. That's the bad time place. I hope you don't mind if I steal your note, sir. Hope you weren't busy with that. Just gonna run off with it now. Burbank's ice cream and soda. Well, that makes this place seem downright pleasant. Isn't that right, sir? Sir. Alright, yeah, you guys, some of you guys are way more significantly altered than other ones, aren't you? There's a rich spectrum here.